Bucks are doing nicely, but it's time for the does to have their fawns. The other little animals, they're moving around real nice. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the foothills of the Smokies. Another chapter of As the Ridge Turns here in East Tennessee. Now, we've had a cool spell here last week. I don't know if it's the last of the little winters or what, but it's a beautiful morning this morning. And here it is, the first part of June. The does and the moon has changed to full, so the does should have their fawns. It's just a matter of time before Mommy lets them move around and when I can catch them on the camera. But everything seems to be moving around nicely. And at the pond, we've had some rain, but not the rains we need. The ponds are drying up awful early for this time of year. But maybe we'll have some good rain. But anyway, relax and let's see what stepped in front of the cameras last week. I have got some foxes, so let's get at it. We'll start out on the ridge top here. You can see these does. There ain't many of them moving around. These are heavy too, you can see them. Look how heavy she is. Now this is last week's pictures now that you're seeing, so they probably dropped them by now. And there's a coon in daylight going up a log on the ridge top. They're out during the day a little bit. And there's old Yeller eating on something there on the ridge trail. Probably caught him a ground squirrel or a mouse. There's a coon during the day out in the woods. There he is out on the ridge trail too during the day. Looks like Rocky too. There's another doe out in the woods, easing through. And there's Sock out in the woods. Haven't seen him in a while. But there's old Yeller, the one-eyed bobcat. He seems to be doing awful well. Down at the pond, mostly see bucks. There is a doe or two in the picture, but mostly young bucks growing their antlers back. They like to forage on this pond. It's so growed up. Beautiful young buck. So peaceful here. They like to forage. And back in the rock, there's little old Chucky moving around. There he is at the log. They all got their own little business to attend to. And there he is still scrounging in them acres. They still in them. There's a blue jay. They like them acres. There's the little songbird of the woods, talking to himself, the thrush. Ain't he pretty? And there's old Thrasher. They don't call him Thrasher for nothing. And there's a beautiful little woodpecker. And there's old Dirty Dan, or Mrs. Dirty Dan. I think Mrs. Dirty Dan's got a skint place on the top of her head. You can see it there. And they mark his tree all the time, each one of them does. I just gotta say hi. They're so common. And up the rock, there's a rabbit paying a visit. Most sought after animal in these woods, these predators. And there's a heavy doe moving through, browsing on the sprout. And there is old Ricky, his favorite little perk. Now there's old Mrs. Dirty Dan, just out prowling around. But she got the skint place on her head. Dirty Dan don't. But they just prowl around all day long, going about their business. Come dark, there's the culprit. The old coon, nosing around on the camera, pulled it straight down when I pulled the camera cards, right against the tree. There wasn't no more pictures off of that one. And they just move on through. They always fooling with these cameras. They always have and always will. And moving down the rock trail there, rocky too. And there looks like old Flash moving through. And there's Silly Willie making his round. And there's a fox. They're moving around a little bit, but not like they used to be. I think they're tending the young. Now there's Wishbone with something in his mouth. Don't know what it is. Moving on through. And there's the culprits, the old coyotes. They watching and following these animals around. Waiting on them fawns, I'd say. Watch them holler. And old Willie, he's stealing them acorns too, piddling around. But he just moves around, moseying around like everybody else, looking for something to feed on. Down at the tree, there's Mr. and Mrs. Rocky. They've been visiting the hotel up there. And there's a fox moving up towards the motel. Now there's Wishbone. You see him some, then you don't. And there's Splash. And back at the rock, old Willie's in his bush. Stays in it all the time, seems like. But he tires of it. I guess he's going to turn in. And there's old Wishbone up the rock, making around. Didn't see Flat Top this week. You know who that is. That's old Spike out in the woods. He's at Warbrush Tail. And up on the ridge, the old coon's moving across. They're going towards the pond. And there's Splash up there moving through, or that's Spike with his tail down. But you don't never see Spike with his tail down, so that's probably Splash. And there's old Willie moving through, just poking on through. And here's his buddy, handicapped buddy. I named him Sidewinder. Old Sidewinder's moving through. Seems to be getting around. Here he is again out in the woods. Seems to be getting around awful well to be handicapped. Old Sidewinder. Down at the pond, you know what the coons are up to. Digging and a-prowling. Looking for frogs, grub, whatever's hatching out around this pond. They love it. They'll stay here all night unless something runs them off. They love this pond. Come daylight, up on the ridge. You can see these does here. See how heavy they are? These are last week, so the moon phase has changed the time you see this video. They may have dropped them. It's time. Here's another picture. How heavy they are. So they've dropped them. Maybe next week, the week after, there's a turkey moving through. Week or the week after, we'll see some fawns if Mama move them around. But it's time for the little squirrels. They got their own business. They're always working at something. And they'll figure it out too if it's got something to do with the nut. So comical. Well, that's just what stepped in front of the cameras this week. So, I want to thank y'all for watching. Tune in next week as the ridge turns. So God bless, take care, and I'll see you next time.